Junior Mining Weekly, StockPulse.com production, where we track the action of the equities within the commodity sector. With me to break down the action is Allan Barry Laboucan of the Allan Barry Reports. Al, before we get to the action, as we like to call it, what are you identifying here as the bigger news of the week?
Yeah, the big news this week, Rob, was mergers and acquisitions. There was a couple of fairly sizable ones with first Kirkland Lake took over Detour, is taking over Detour Mining. Detour Mining has their mines are in Ontario, and Kirkland Lake has mines in Ontario and Australia. Now, what makes this merger quite interesting is Kirkland Lake has been one of the best performing major gold mining companies over the last couple of years because they're due to their high grade, high margin, low cost Fosterville mine in Australia, which has got them a premium valuation. Detour Gold, on the other hand, is low cost, high margin in Ontario. And when this deal was announced, Kirkland Lake has taken about a 20% haircut on the stock price due to this acquisition. Now they're saying, well, it brings us 20 years of mine life, and they think that they can improve the cost of production. Like, for example, their costs are $1,100 an ounce, and that's after they've done some changes to the mine and brought that down about $100 an ounce. Whereas in Fosterville, I think they're under $800 an ounce. So what that's going to do, Rob, is it's going to increase the cost of production across their whole portfolio for Kirkland Lake, which I believe is going to bring down that premium that they've been receiving for being a low cost producer. So that's what caused the haircut. Now we'll see what happens in the future as far as are they going to be able to bring the cost down, and how much will that affect their overall cost of production across their portfolio. But it's been an interesting deal, a $5 billion deal for the acquisition. So we'll see what happens in the future. Then the other takeover is from Evolution Mining of Australia is taking over what used to be Gold Corp's Red Lake operations, the operations as well as all the exploration ground. This is a very interesting deal to me. I think Evolution Mining got a sweetheart of a deal. Part of it is because it's an all-cash deal. The Kirkland Lake and Detour deal is all stock deal. This Evolution deal is with Gold Corp, our Newmont Gold Corp, is all cash. And that's probably why they got such a good deal. And why I think it's such a good deal is Gold Corp has been sort of negligent over the last few years in giving their Red Lake mine the care and maintenance and tender loving care it needs to keep the cost down. And also the last 15 years has just been horrible as far as exploration. They got rid of all their key exploration people and really cut their budgets dramatically. So, yeah, I think that Evolution has got themselves a sweetheart of a deal. I think they're going to be able to bring the cost of production down in the mine and also find additional ounces because I think you'll see them crank up the exploration. Now, this also could have an effect on another big deal, a couple deals in Red Lake, which are Pure Gold is developing a mine, and then you've got Great Bear, which has been making a lot of noise with their exploration over the last couple of years or last year or so. And why that? I mean, right now that the deal that they did was basically for about double the valuation that Great Bear is trading at right now. And Great Bear doesn't have mining operations. It doesn't have the same kind of exploration potential as the main of all this ground that they're getting. Evolution is getting, so it could have an effect on further consolidation of the area. Pure Gold and Great Bear are high on that list, and what the valuation of things that are bought. I'll tell you what, if I had the money, I sure would like to be in Evolution mining space with the potential to bring costs down in the mines. And also, you got to remember, Rob, that rock was at one time the lowest cost producer in the world. So I think they can bring the cost down and also have some exploration potential. So that's the big news in the mining space this week.
Let's get to some of these bets here. I know one on the top of your list here, the first one to go through is Goldplay Exploration, GPLY on the venture. Marcio Fonseca is the CEO. Good start on the drilling there in Mexico. It's early, but it's interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. This is their maiden drilling, the first drilling program. What they've identified is they've hit some epithermal veins. They're good hits for early in the drilling. Now, these epithermal vein systems. You kind of want a good way to look at it, Rob, is like a thermometer sticking in the ground. The grades tend to get better as you go deeper and hotter into the thermometer. The closer you are to the surface, the cooler it is. The deeper you go, the hotter it is. And in these epithermal vein systems, it's the boiling zone. So the hot spot is where you are going to find your mines. But you sort of got to figure out where you are in that thermometer before you along strike and also at depth before you can really target the hot spot. But they've now found that they've got this epithermal vein system. They now need to figure out where they are in the system. My guess is that based on the results and the grades that they're high in the system. So in that thermometer, they're sort of at the top of the thermometer, and they need to get deeper into it to find the hot spot. Their drilling is just below where there was some historical artisanal mine workings. The vein textures suggest that this is a long-lived system, which is exactly what you want to find. So, as I said, they're at a good start in their drilling of this system, and I expect to see them do a lot more drilling. And I like what I see so far. They've got 68 million shares out. The 52-week trading range is 30 cents on the high, 10.5 cents on the low. Currently trading at 18.5 cents. So, it's sort of in the middle of the range there, and I like what I see so far with the drilling.
Another one you've covered before here, Nevada Exploration, NGE on the venture with Wade Hodges. Raise $1 million and go do some drilling in Nevada, huh?
Yeah, now they've got the cash to go out. I was actually, just before we did the recording of this show today, I was looking at the Metals Investors Forum. They were presenters at that November, the one that just happened about a week ago, and one of their guys did a presentation. I suggest that our viewers go check out that presentation, and he also mentions that they've just put out some new corporate presentations, because prior to this funding that they did, they have been doing a lot of news releases about the work that they're doing to get ready to drill. Now that they've got this $1 million of funding, they're ready to go out there and start drilling, and it's quite an exciting project that I think could be one that turns into a big winner if their theory is right. The 52-week range on that one is 47 cents on the high. The low is 15 cents, currently trading at 24 cents. So a little off the low there, but could get very exciting now that they've got the money to get drilling, and keep a close eye on that one. It could, if their theory is right, they could be looking at tagging monsters down there.
And moving on here to Osisko Mining, OSK on the venture. John Brzezinski, sister company of OM here, which we recently covered. So I know they got some good drill results out here, but yet they sit on the bottom.
Yeah, they're up today 17 cents to $2.88, but the 52-week range on them is 3.90 on the low to $2.42 on the high. But just like earlier this week, they hit 8 meters of 161 grams of gold at their Windfall project. This is some sweet stuff. They just, and not long before that, they announced that they've increased their bought deal financing to 32.9 million from 25 million. So smart money understands that this is a serious project. They increased it by 7 million, almost $8 million, the financing. And then they put out these results at 8 meters of 161 grams. And this isn't isolated hits either, Rob. They've got something really big there. And for those that want a little less risky exposure to gold exploration, Osisko Mining is a really good one. These guys have found Canada's largest, the team found Canada's largest gold mine, the Malartic mine. I'd been following that one since it was $1 a share, and it looks like they're doing it again with Osisko Mining at the Windfall project. So what makes this one different, though, this is high grade. The Malartic mine in Quebec is low grade, big open pit. So yeah, this is very exciting stuff that they've got at Windfall, and certainly one that's following the tax loss selling trend where you can buy these things at close to their 52-week lows, and this would be high on my list of one that once we turn into the new year and the tax loss selling is done with, I could see Osisko Mining popping big time to the upside.
And heading up to the Golden Triangle here, one we covered last week with some good drill results here. Skeena Resources, SKE on the venture. Walter Coles Jr. is the CEO. $15 million financing. Run through this one.
Well, there you go, Rob. You deliver some big results, and it tends to give you some big financings. $15 million gives them tons of money for drilling. And unlike most of the Golden Triangle plays up in northern British Columbia that's shut down during this time of the year, these guys are drilling right through the winter. They've got they're drilling from the surface down, but they've rigged their system up so that they can drill throughout the winter off of skids and stuff like that. So yeah, it's no wonder they're looking at a high grade, super high grade gold system, getting good funding, and we'll be drilling through the winter. So keep an eye on those guys to keep delivering some big results. It's no wonder that their stock is bucking the tax loss selling trend instead of trading at the lows. And that's another thing you can look for during tax loss selling, Rob. If they're bucking the trend, there's often a reason why. And their 52-week range is 71 on the low, 26.5 cents on the high. Or sorry, got that mixed up. 71 cents on the high, 26.5 cents on the low, currently trading at 64 cents. And again, I think they could keep delivering good results that keeps that bullish trend going for their stock.
And some news out here lately, Sokoman Minerals, SIC on the venture, Timothy Froud. Run through that one.
Well, here's one that is following the tax loss selling trend, Rob. The 52-week high is 22.5 cents. The low is 4 cents. As of today, right now, they're trading at 7 cents. So right at near the low. But what news that caught my attention is I've been following this one for about a year and a half. The reason is they've got this high-grade gold discovery of Newfoundland, in a really good spot of Newfoundland. But it's high-grade, and sometimes these high-grade systems are hard to get a handle on what's happening at depth. Now, the news that they put out this week is that they've they've done some new modeling of what they've found there, and it looks like they're getting a handle on how the system is acting at depth. And if that's true, they'll be able to better target the system at depth and better able to deliver on the high grade discovery. Now these guys have road access; they can drill all year round. So this is one that I think could be your classic sort of tax loss selling play. You buy it now while it's near the lows. They crank up the drilling in the January, February, can deliver some good results. Seems like they have a handle on the high grade at depth. So I think, like I said, this could be your classic sort of pop to the upside once the tax loss selling is over, and one I highly recommend folks to do their homework on and take a close look at.
And moving on here to one we've covered before, Silver Viper Minerals, VIPR in the venture. Stephen Cope's the CEO, drilling in Mexico.
Drilling in Mexico, and I want to do an interview, a deeper dive into this one. The project that they're looking at had past work. It's not a virgin sort of project, but there is a lot of virgin ground on their project. And now that they're starting their phase 2 drilling to sort of follow up on what they did before, what's been done before, I'm really optimistic about this one, and the market is as well, Rob, and on good reason. They only have about 58 million shares out. The 52-week range is on the high, it's 38 cents. On the low, it's 7 cents. Currently trading at about 24 cents, so a little over the middle of the range there. But now that they're drilling, they can deliver on the drilling. They can deliver on the trend of things getting more optimistic once we're through the tax loss selling season. And I think that this one is got the potential to deliver with the drilling and deliver on the stock performance as we get into the new year. So keep a close eye on this one, folks.
And last one on the forum this week, GT Gold Corp, GTT in the venture. Stephen Burleton, big investment by Newmont here. Run through this one, the Golden Triangle.
Yeah, this one is again. This one sort of is only explored during the spring and the summer. But they've I originally made them a pick because they found a high grade vein system close to surface on the southern end of their target. But then they also had this big geophysical anomaly sitting right beside it. Then they started drilling that geophysical anomaly and hitting big, thick intersections of lower grade that looks like it could be an open pit type target. And then it's no wonder that Newmont came in and is doing an $8.3 million financing because they like those big open pits. They may not be high grade, but they can mine them for a long time. And I'm not surprised to see them take in put a big investment, and they're doing it at $1.20. Now, the 52-week range on this one, Rob, is on the high, it's $1.31. On the low, it's 55 cents. Currently trading at 92 cents. And so that's a pretty significant premium that Newmont is pricing it at. And I think there's lots of reasons why. They could be sitting on a big open pit target here, and that looks realistic that they've got something. So now they'll be funded to get after this in a big way. I think this is one you want to sort of keep a close eye on for a pop into the new year, and then maybe some softness as they wait to get drilling excuse me, in the spring and the summer. But very exciting project, big target, big results in the past. Newmont, a big company, is coming at it and giving them some good funding at a nice premium. So I think this is one that you could have a couple of trends, before the next season's drilling. One, the tax laws pop into the new year, and then the pop when they get the softness prior to drilling, and then the pop into the drilling.
Okay, and the theme has been seasonality for a tip, but I think you might have uncovered another one here with what I like to call in the sports world a don't make sense play when something is completely bucking the trend. That might be the one to actually jump on. So why don't you run into that and elaborate on that and how that could potentially play out when the market does turn of these ones that are already getting ahead of it?
Yeah, Rob, it's like anything. These are the tax loss selling season is a trend that, rewards people year after year after year. But anytime you're looking at a trend, you always want to look for something also that's bucking that trend. Sometimes you can find a classic like the SIC that I think is your classic sort of tax loss selling trend. But then you've got something like an SKE that's bucking two trends, actually, Rob. It's bucking the trend of the tax loss selling season, and they're also bucking the trend of seasonality of when you can drill up in the Golden Triangle. They've done some unique sort of stuff that they're able to not be down during the time when all the Golden Triangle plays have to be off for the year. They're getting in there and drilling during the winter, and so they're bucking the seasonality of when you can drill in the Golden Triangle, and they're bucking the trend of the tax loss selling, and that's part and parcel because they've been able to deliver during the downtime, if you will, for the Golden Triangle work season. So, whatever the trend is, Rob, you always want to be looking at for sort of the classic plays on that trend. And also for companies, why are they bucking the trend? And oftentimes you can find a sort of a less risky play on the trend, which is what you could call SKE, and then also classic trend plays, which are something like an SIC and a bunch of the other ones we've been talking about lately.
Okay, well, appreciate that insight, Al. Why don't you go ahead and plug your Allan Barry Reports and let everyone know that you're doing some drilling on advanced gold.
Yeah, well, Allan Barry Reports is kind of going into a bit of hibernation lately, Rob, since you've twisted my arm and got me all excited about your new work at StockPulse and the new website that's coming up. And I really, for years I've been looking for somebody who puts together a platform of what I would do if I had the time and the effort. You're doing it, and now I can sort of plug and play Allan Barry Reports into there. But I've also, of course, I've got a lot of historical work that I've done on the Allan Barry Report, some good homework, some good writing in there. So people can check that out at allanbarryreports.com. What makes me a unique newsletter writer is I think I'm one of the only ones that also runs an exploration company in advanced gold, AAX on the venture. And I try to put to work what I talk about in my reports and my commentary through my advanced gold. And I've got an exciting transition where we've done some early drilling that then led us to some geophysics. The geophysics exposed the very large chargeability geophysical anomaly that was right beside and underneath the drilling results that we had, finding a big network of veins. We were looking for the boiling system, and now we've got this big geophysical anomaly sitting right below that, and we're drilling it. So, it's exciting times for advanced gold, and we're one that is also trading at its 52-week low while we've got the drilling underway. So I think Advance is another one that would fall into that classic sort of tax loss selling season play with the added advantage of drilling that can generate news, which I think really is the kind of 1-2 punch of what you want to look for in these tax loss selling plays, Rob.